Yeah, that is a rough pull. Dude, I am literally non-fucking stop healing this goddamn tank. Hey there, everybody. Mazrock here, and today is the second and last episode of Undercover Healer. Detective I'm a Dwagon. Because lots of reasons that we're going to get into with the last set of keys that we just did. I know I said 3 episodes, but I think I just can't do it anymore, and that probably answers the original question that we set out in the last episode to answer. Before we do get into it though, please like, comment, subscribe. It goes such a long way towards helping out the channel. There is a Patreon link down below, which you will have which my patrons will have early access to both of these episodes. The first one is already up for them. And if you want early access content, that's the place to get it. Discord link down below, Twitch link down below, and merch link as well. There's Sad Bear tee, Blood DK I'm the Healer now, like t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeves, stickers, mugs, a bunch of great stuff, and we got some other stuff. We got some other stuff cooking as well. All right, so Detective I'm a Dwagon, Undercover Healer. So we started this week, Fort Week at item level 427 and IO 1727, I think. And immediately we started strong. 15 Neltharian's Lair. The tank had like a bunch of PvP gear and wouldn't stop doing the PvP wiggle. And kept aiming frontals at everybody. You thought you were safe, and then all of a sudden they get zipped around and you were running out of frontals. But aside from that, like, he kept himself alive. Self-sustain was pretty good. Really, no issues really to report from there. That's kind of the only one. 14 Brackeye Hollow. We were 1 minute over time. The DK DPS would die to everything. Vicious Claw Mangles, War Scourges, the Rage Storm, all this stuff. And he rage quit, and we ended up 4-manning the rest of the dungeon, which got incredibly easier to heal, by the way. Just because. Now, we were a minute over time, but after that death, I think he died. He quit right before the first boss. Man, that dungeon got way easier to heal. But also, we were a priest and a paladin in the run as well, on top of me being my evoker. Both of them have disease dispel, and neither one of them used it once. Like, why? Man, like, everybody's got diseases, and I've got a 1-minute dispel. And I'm like, bro, like, help. We're taking a lot of damage. Fucking dispel yourself, man. Like, goddamn! You have the ability! You have the button! You're allowed to press it! But nope, I digress. Then we started getting into the 16-17 range of things, where things got a little bit easier. Except for the 16 Ultimate was, again, a Protection Paladin, which, oh my god, Protection Paladins. Oh, like, I'm at a point now, like, mentally, I was at a point after this, I'm like, alright, unless I know you, like, unless I actually know you, I'm done healing Protection Paladin pugs. Like, I'm done. I kept doing it, but, I mean, 36% uptime on Shield of the Righteous, had no idea how hard anything hit in there, face tanked the Jagged Bites bleeds to death. I had to babysit him the whole time. He would double and triple pulls that would wipe us completely, ask what happened, and we'd be like, you can't pull 4 golems together, man. Like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna end well. This isn't heroic. Like, it's a 16 fortified. And I even said, like, look, I'm not the highest item level. And I'm not the highest skill cap. I can keep us alive. But not through that level of stupidity. All around, that one pretty terrible. 16 Vortex. This one was, like, my first real experience where they're like, do we take them, do we not? And I actually ended up waiting a minute or more before Q, and then we ended up getting KSM with that. Aside from that, it was a couple of mixture, like we did Freehold, Naltharis, Halls of Infusion. The Halls of Infusion was really where I learned as a healer, like, don't finish your cast, just walk out of the mechanic. Just walk out of the mechanic. 3 times I died to, I can get this off before the mechanic goes off, and you can't. Just walk out of the mechanic, then cast. It's 10 out of 10 worth it every single time. Like, God, just, yeah. That's one thing that I learned as a healer. Do not. Just don't. If there's a mechanic under your feet, stop your cast, move, cast again. That's it. Then we started getting into, like, we started doing more 16s, some 17s along the way, but things went really, really well, but it was a common issue of the same problems, right? The more I went up, the more that I went into the keys, it's a combination of the same problems that at the end of the day drove me insane. And at the end of Sunday last night, now I'm also in the process of quitting smoking cigarettes. As of recording this, it's day 4. But it's day 5. Yeah, it's day 5. So I actually had recorded all of the Undercover Healer while I was quitting smoking. So there was definitely some fun times there. But, after a while, I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't. I'm done. I don't want to queue up. I don't want to stream this. I'm not having fun. I'm putting myself through misery because of a collection of things. Like, when we started this series, or when we asked ourselves this question, why aren't healers queuing for Mythic Plus as a pug, right? Why is there a shortage of them? The moment I got to that point, I was like, I'm done. And I have a list of answers. Now, we're going to go into those answers. We're going to go into this. But I don't think it is one thing in particular. I think as we go through this list and my final thoughts, I legitimately think it is a collection of all of this, and each key hits a few points. Maybe not all of them, but a few points, especially as a pug healer. Now, again, my sample is incredibly small. Okay, it is very, very small. It is based in North America. It's based on a specific key range. But I've talked to other healers, and this sentiment kind of resonates with everyone on some level, where you can pick pieces here and there, and you are going to find a combination of those pieces in that list that healers that could be queuing up for Mythic Plus just say, fuck this, I'd rather go play Diablo or go do something else. So here are my final thoughts for week 2, or just my final thoughts. One was I started getting used to the chaos a little bit at times, but I couldn't pug heal for long periods of time. There were times where it was incredibly fun, but it was just straining mentally. It really, really was absolutely straining me to death, to the point where I was like, I'm tired, I can't do this, my brain is done, I can't. Some of those reasons are the lack of community knowledge. Well, we're a couple of weeks into the season, and this is really week 2 of the first ever rotating season dungeon pool expansion, right? We've never had this. Since Mythic Plus has been a thing, it's, aside from season 4 to refreshing things up of Shadowlands, it's always been the same dungeon season after season, and the amount of community knowledge that people break in, that people absorb, that people learn, is incredibly slow in the WoW player base. The amount of times that I have seen people in Brackenhide Hollow, melee DPS, stand in the Rage Storm because they don't have a soothe. They could be the key holder, and there's no soothe in the party, and they're the ones that were responsible for that, but they never realized that it was a soothe that stopped the Rage Storm from occurring to begin with, and died to it. Or Vicious Claw Mangles. They get targeted, and then they just instantly die, and they don't understand what's happening. Or if you look at Freehold, they do the Blinding Rage cast, the Brawlers or whatever, I can't quite remember at this moment, but they start getting chased around, especially when they're a hunter. Man, trank shot it. Like, soothe it. It's got rage in the cast. And then it will stop and go back to the tank. And these are some of the dungeons that are older. But the amount of community knowledge and how quickly the WoW community as a whole absorbs it. And again, This is a generalization. There are plenty of runs that I've had that have been absolutely amazing and really good and a lot of fun. But at the opposite side of that spectrum, there's been a lot of runs, probably the same number, that have just been, like, horrific. Absolutely terrible. Just making me question any sanity that I had for even wanting to play this game any further. And then there's the in-between, right? Nothing's black and white. There's okay keys, there's great keys, there's bad keys, right? And the great keys, things feel really, really good when they happen. And that is when, you know, you're not just healing through people's stupid. Another thing is the high HPS checks. Now, before you get on it and say high HPS checks good or bad, or say, oh, he's just bitching about healing checks. No, I actually think they're good. I think the high HPS checks are good. They're a lot of fun. When people do mechanics. Because there's high HPS checks in this game where no matter how well you play are going to remain exactly that. High HPS checks. Can the healer do this? That's good. I think that's good for the game. The problem becomes when people act like idiots while those high HPS checks are going on and standing in extra stupid. That compounds the HPS check and punishes the healer for 4 other people's outright blatant lack of knowledge, sheer stupidity, blame it on the healer problem, and that has happened where people are like, oh, the healer will just heal me through it. Don't worry, guys, the healer will just heal me through it. Well, there's already an 80 to a 90k HPS check required just to keep people alive. These people are adding another 10, 20, 40 onto it by compounding that problem by just being dumb or being ignorant. And that is the problem. That is right there. That's one of the big things where I'm like, I kind of just gave up and said, you can die now. I'm playing a Preservation Evoker. I told you twice, one at the beginning of the key, and one during my first real ramp, that if you want any heals, you need to be in my breaths, and you need to be around, and you want to stand off and fuck off in Narnia, guess what? You can rot to death. I'm done. I don't care. But that's not a great mentality to have either. Right? I want to heal everyone. I want to do my job. So now I'm conflicted. I have this high HPS check I need to go over, but I also need to wrangle a bunch of cats into doing fucking mechanics for 5 fucking seconds. I think going forward, if we're going to be going through with the rotating dungeon pool, and I think we are. I think it's a success. I have really good things to say about it. It keeps things fresh. I think if Blizzard is going to be looking at high HPS checks, they also have to look at the likelihood of player failure during those checks that can compound the issue on the healer, because that was the least fun portion of healing for me altogether, was people ignore mechanics during one of those checks, and my life just gets 20 times harder. When if we just had a group, an organized group of people that can do it, that can know the mechanics, and it's not even everyone has to do every mechanic. You know, three out of 4 of you would be nice. It's not asking for much. Oh, play the game. But then there's the lack of utility across the board, right? The amount of people I've seen never use a defensive, drink a health pot, do anything at all to keep yourself alive. Why? I don't have health pots. Why? They're like 4 fucking gold. And I think I could continue healing. I think I could. With friends. At the end of the day, I'm not going to pug into a run as a healer. I'm just not. I don't want to. The attitude that is presented towards a healer by the play of the individuals at hand, whether it be ignorance, arrogance, lack of knowledge, brand new to the game, it all falls onto the healer to fix every mistake that kind of gets made along the way. And sometimes that's good. But right now, it's really bad. And I think when we combine all of these things that I just spoke about, I think that's why healers aren't queuing for Mythic Plus anymore. I think it because that's why I'm not queuing for Mythic Plus anymore. I really did try to enjoy this role. I really did try, and I spent hours researching the spec, picking the spec that I wanted to play, where I have so much fun playing it. I enjoy playing Preservation Evoker. It's fun, and I probably will continue to do so. But I will be fucking in the 9th layer of goddamn hell before you see me fucking pugging as a goddamn healer into groups. Not happening. I'm done. I'm done with the sheer stupidity. I'm done with tanks who come in and don't have any fucking clue how these dungeons work, which we're going to leave this video off with the most ridiculous thing that happened. I was DPSing on my Evoker, trying to get a Spoils of Neltharis. I think it was a 13 Neltharis. And we're on Chains boss. And we put out all of our chains, we spread them out, and the Paladin tank just starts fucking off and running away from us. Like, just straight up running away. And we're like, do you know the mechanic? He's like, nope. And I immediately felt so bad for the healer. Like, I felt bad. I also found the entire interaction going forward to be hilarious beyond belief, because I had lost all question of my sanity at that point. Like, I was really, I just, everything's funny to me now. Like, that's it. That's the level of baffledness that just kind of occurred, where I couldn't do this. And I was just laughing. And the healer was like, you didn't even read the dungeon journal? Nothing? Nope! And then we get to Forge Storm, and he pulled the monstrosities, everything, and was like, wait, I'm going to read the dungeon journal first, and then fucking left the key. The amount of respect that people show towards people in these keys can be bafflingly horrendous at times. It can be amazing. Okay, I need to point that out. I need to point out the other opposite end of that spectrum. It can be amazing. It can also just... Why? Why do you wake up out of bed with that sort of mentality? To treat other people like that? To treat other people's time like that? I don't know. But let's recap. Community knowledge is slow uptake due to a rotating dungeon pool. High HPS checks that are compounded by that lack of community knowledge in a lot of cases. Disrespect. I don't want to say anyone was toxic to me, because as a healer, no one was toxic to me, whether I could or could not do the key. Unless I said something first, no one shat on me, no one cussed me out. I got nothing to say. Now, that could be happening in higher keys or whatever. I don't know. Expectations could be lower for the key levels that I was doing. Perfectly acceptable. But you add lack of community knowledge, lack of utility being used by DPS and tanks, lack of defensives being used, lack of a lot, lack of respect towards the group at hand. You add all of those things, and that compounds every healer problem that exists naturally in the game. So I'm not doing this no more. I'm done. Detective Amadwagon, Ain't fucking pugging no more keys as a healer. Devastation. Don't have to give a shit. Augmentation. Cool, I can help you out, healer. Move and cast. Have fun. But I'm not fucking. I'll heal it with an organized group. But I ain't pugging. But that is due to, I think I've made my point. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? I would love to hear your thoughts, but this is the end of this series. And that's all I found out. Have yourself a good one, everyone.